welcome to another episode of That's Right with Chris Voss. And I am Chris Voss. And today I have the pleasure of welcoming Dana Cowles. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you here, man. All right, so is it a ridiculous idea for you to share with our viewers a little bit about your business and your journey?
Absolutely not. And thanks for doing it. I'm an emergency room physician, and I've been practicing for the past almost 20 years now. And I've been practicing in the Florida and the New York markets, and most recently traveling through central New York. And during that time, I've seen a lot of focus that has been put towards different medical cases. And the ones that were most troubling for me were the ones that were psychiatric, or people who came in with depression, and especially those that were suicidal. And so I started to speak more about this because there's a perspective that I've seen repetitively in people who were suicidal, that they would sit there and say that they weren't happy, that they weren't finding happiness. And I looked into the history of that, and it actually started with a euphoric happiness concept that came from Freud in the 1860s. And he started pushing this idea that euphoric happiness can make your life better and cure all nervous disorders. But he also used intoxicants to try to convince people to get there quicker. The most common that he used was cocaine.
He was a cocaine guy, yeah.
Yeah. And so what he went from there, he tried to push people to be on this, but marketers have found that happiness parts you with your money. And so they push this idea of euphoric happiness, that if you eat our food, drink our drink, wear our makeup, then you'll be happy. And now when I ask people, what do you want out of life? A lot of them will tell me happiness of some sort because of that marketing.
The marketing. All right, so you discovered that, and as an emergency room doctor, you're seeing these obstacles. It's a common challenge that people that come in that you see face on a regular basis, this pursuit of this illusion.
Yes.
The mirage.
Yes.
Of euphoric happiness.
Yes.
And so how'd you come to understand it? What strategies were you using to understand them, and what strategies do you use now?
Well, my background, undergraduate, was philosophy. And so I've learned to study the sources of where things come from, to read the papers of the people who are pushing these ideas. And a lot of them are very well intentioned, but they can go very awry. And one of the biggest mistakes in COVID, I believe, happened because of this lack of understanding. And so,
lack of empathy.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the factors that people really need in life is they need security and they need affirmation. They need to know that things are going to be okay, and they need to know that they're a good person for doing it. And if they're lacking that security or that affirmation, they tend to fall apart, and they get the idea that they're missing out on life because they're missing out on happiness, when actually the opposite of depression isn't happiness, it's purpose. Purpose is what gets you out of bed. Purpose is what continues to do things. And so what I try to provide for people is that understanding of development of purpose through security and affirmation.
So you're using the Black Swan method, negotiation strategies, to help people shift their gaze from happiness to purpose.
Absolutely. And when COVID happened, one of the biggest mistakes I think that was made was this lack of understanding of what security and affirmation people need.
Right.
Remember when they came out into the public and they said who was going to be working? And it was going to be the essential workers. You know, imagine telling 80% or more of your population that they were not essential, that they weren't needed.
So it was a well-intended message that had a really negative consequence.
I believe so. And if you noticed around when everything got closed down, they ended up shutting down the restaurants, they shut down the stores, and when they opened back up, people weren't coming back to work.
Because you told me I was not essential. I had no purpose. I was meaningless.
Right.
Why do I want to come back to that?
Right.
I'm sure it seems like you can think of a specific situation where you use these skills to navigate a difficult situation.
Absolutely. Recently, I had a patient who came in who had a molar pregnancy. This is a pregnancy that is not going to develop. It's not going to bear any fruit as far as the pregnancy itself. And a lot of times it does need to be terminated because it can cause infections and inflammation in there, but there is no development of any fetal structures in a molar pregnancy.
Wow.
And when the woman had come in, her husband was there by her side and wants to be the protector and the caregiver. And they came in initially and everything was okay as they went to a procedure to clear her out and to clear out the pregnancy. But then she developed a pretty significant infection and it left her in significant amounts of pain on the floor. And when the family came into the emergency department, they were distraught. But they also wanted to blame the doctor who did the procedure.
Yes.
And they wanted to blame the hospital and they wanted to blame the situation. And I've learned in my life that as I tried to become fearless and I tried to go that fearless route, that fear is actually a tool that we need. It's important and it means something. So if people work with me in the emergency department and they say, I'm afraid, I'm fearful of being here, my answer is good. That'll keep you on your toes. It keeps you aware of what's going on so that you're not just droning through. And so for this gentleman, we were able to find that the tactical empathy showed us that he was projecting a lot because he was feeling that feeling of helplessness. He wants to protect his wife and he wants to make sure that everything's going to be okay for her and wasn't able to do it and wasn't able to understand what was causing the problem.
All right, so it sounds like then what you did was you created a that's right moment because you fed back to him what he was feeling.
Absolutely.
Not what he should be feeling, but what he was feeling. You made him aware of it. And he created that. Did he say that's right? What happened? And then he was okay.
He did, and he was a lot better with it. And the things that I have also found in addition to that's right is someone saying to you, thanks, I needed that. It's a very powerful statement.
Right.
And to also say, I have my trust in you. And that's a powerful thing when you're just meeting somebody for 10, 15 minutes at a time, and to be able to have them put their lives and their care into your hands, it's something that we have to be very cognizant of. How do you bridge that gap the best way possible? And that can be challenging, but a lot of the strategies that we've used have been very helpful.
Challenging and rewarding.
Absolutely.
Amen. All right, so Dana, if people want to learn more about you, they want to learn from you, they want to work with you, how do they find you?
Well, I can be reached at CowlesEmergencyServices.com.
Social media, Instagram?
Instagram, Dana Cow, DANACOW.
All right, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dana. That was brilliant.
you.
Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.